Hey guys, welcome to another Real Estate Lunchbox. I'm your host, Leon Duncan. There's Real Estate Lunchbox where where real estate meets the culture. Your boy is here. I'm sorry, I'm late getting on today. They're like, Leon, like usual. So what? What you say? Largely because they were doing some stuff to my lawn in the front. And you gotta check it sometimes. You only get what you inspect, you don't get what you expect. That's the reality of it. And listen, hold on to that. I'm gonna grab my glasses because I'm about to get this thing rocking. Yup, yup, yup. Another lunchbox with your boy over here. Just to make sure where we streaming at. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Facebook, and we rocking, man. Before we get started today, I would love for you to go to the link below. Check out our 2026 relocation guide. Go ahead and take advantage of the off-market property list. And if you really, really, really want to get down with it, like, subscribe, follow for more content because we're going to be releasing the school community, which is going to show you how to use AI to actually scale your real estate business. Really, that's what it is. I want to teach you without having to do with some of this other stuff that these guys got out here. From a 20-year vet, I want to teach you about real estate so you have a clear understanding of what that is and what it isn't, what you can and cannot do from a broker's perspective. If you're somebody that's in the business or you're thought about getting into real estate, this might be great for you. I want to teach you about wholesaling so you know how I was able to sit on my couch and make six figures wholesaling real estate. And now why it becomes so easy to actually do. AI just supercharges it. And that's really what it's coming down to. It's coming down to using things like that as a tool for people who are just like you, who never been in the real estate space, but you want to get into it and make extra cash, because I believe this is a season for making extra cash, hint hint, in real estate. But this is it. This is what we rocking. This is what we doing. And man, I'm just here to just bring you the best that I can, give you everything that will help you not just add value to you, but give you perspective on what's going on in the market and what's currently happening. So you are not confused, not one bit at all. Even though they're screaming online, even though you hear it on a news station, even though you hear all of this, people laid off, AI infiltrating this is probably one of the best times, I believe, to get into real estate. And I'm not telling you to sell you anything, honestly, because I got more free stuff that I give away than actually sell. But I'm telling you because I believe, like, the day that I sat down and did my first wholesale deal and was able to pump it out, that this is the time for you to begin to build your brand. And if real estate is part of your brand, if that's a service or something that you guys do, lock on to the Real Estate Lunchbox, because I'm going to entertain you and educate you at the same time, because I hate boring real estate. But more importantly, are you not entertained?
Oh no!
All right, cool. Let's get it rocking, man. We done. Done with the setup. Let's get it rocking. Let's talk about what's going on with Disney. Disney is in a different place right now. Okay? And this Disney setup is going to affect a lot of people living in that area. It's a message that's being sent out, in my opinion, to every business that's out here. When you see Disney start to cut jobs for Marvel, start to make those changes and adjustments, start to create a position at Marvel for AI developers, people who are going to turn around and use AI to do the same movies that we love and we like. But they're doing it under this blanket, this covering, and it's basically telling people, hey, yeah, we're not firing y'all for AI. We're letting people go because of marketing and streaming costs and all this other crap. But it's a lie. They really are trying to find, and I think they are halfway, if not there already, a way to produce a lot of what we see coming out of these large learning models in AI, using AI, the nano bananas, man, what's the other one? VEO3. Sora used to be up there. Sora's out of the game. But they kind of have somebody sat down and said, hey, we can use the same thing that they're using in the tech companies, the oracles, for workflows, we can use that type of system to now do creative for us, which we all know already. The models are getting better, more and more better than what they were even a year and a half ago, even 6 months ago. 6 months ago, when I did a movie, well, not 6 months, it was about close to a year ago when I was creating AI related videos, avatar related videos, using systems like HeyGen to make them and bring them to pass. It required a little bit more work. I was always looking at the finished product, and I would say, this is really not cool. Who is it going to fool? Like, you really know it's not me. You can tell it's not me sitting down there. But as I started to see throughout time, and we're not even talking about a large period of time, we're talking about 6 months, the avatars and the production that came out of these large learning models, these systems like HeyGen, all of these VEO3 systems, the avatars, the people, the images that they created, man, different, completely different. It's almost like you went to bed 6 months and 3 months later you wake up and the world's completely different when it comes to AI. This stuff looks more real than the actors that are out there doing it. Now, I'm going to tell you at the end of this what I truly believe is going to happen. But let's look at the story, then we'll jump into some reactions concerning it, because when this was announced a couple days ago, the internet was on fire. Now, this is not just going to affect Marvel Studios. This is going to roll into places like Atlanta, because we've got right now, I don't know if we still are, but Atlanta at one time was considered what? The movie capital of the South. So it's not just stopping there. It's going to hit a lot of other places.
Disney is planning to lay off as many as 1,000 employees in the coming weeks. That's according to a source close to the situation. Many of these job eliminations will be in marketing after the company consolidated its marketing across entertainment, experiences, and sports under a new CMO, Asad Ayaz, for the first time. That happened back in January. My understanding is that these layoffs have been in the works since then. The company is also in the process of combining Disney Plus and Hulu, both the apps and the teams. And this move around the layoffs, first reported by the Wall Street Journal, comes less than a month after Josh D'Amaro took the helm of Disney as CEO, and as the company has meaningfully underperformed the S&P over the past year. Now, Disney is facing some key challenges, including maintaining growth of the parks and experiences division amid consumer uncertainty. There's the challenge of revitalizing key franchises in the film division, which is reckoning with a weaker box office as well as declining profitability. And in the face of a linear TV business in secular decline, the company must continue growing streaming to compensate. Now, analysts are overwhelmingly positive on D'Amaro's ability to take on these challenges. 88% of analysts have a buy on the stock, 12% have a hold.
Disney began a round of layoffs on Tuesday.
Okay, so let's stop. Let's pause that real quick, okay? The way that Disney, I'm going to take this out of here because something misspelled on there, and I don't like misspelled stuff. I don't like that stuff. We were rushing trying to get this out to you. Okay, so the reality of it is this thing is not just going to affect Cali, even though I'm going to show you what's happening in Cali when it comes to AI, okay? San Francisco, that whole area right there, literally right now, the most expensive place to live in the country. But what they're doing with AI right now is going to define how we actually do media. Me sitting here talking to you on YouTube, all the way down to actors that are hired, how they're hired. I keep saying this, and I truly believe it. The way that the game is going to evolve to is you are going to, the average person, if this lines up right, will be able now to become a star. And we're not talking about YouTube. We're talking about, and we're not talking about Mr. Beast. I'm not talking about Speed. I'm literally talking about like the grandma sitting on the couch. Why? Because real people, and we see it in YouTube, and this is what's affecting Disney's money model too. real people like you and me are causing real people who watch us to actually desire to interact with more real content, not the type of content that is carefully curated to do a storyline and get people excited traditionally. Disney has been losing a ton of money on this type of approach. YouTube, Google has been stealing money out of these media pockets because nobody wants to watch a crazy YouTube Disney film that, when I remember Captain Marvel was not like what you saw Captain Marvel as right now. Okay. So I think this is going to continuously hit Disney. And this is the way that they begin to posture to evolve into the next level of business, because they've got to evolve. If they're in the entertainment space, Disney is going to lose their positioning if they don't evolve. And evolving means adapting AI and actually cutting the purse strings because of purse strings when it comes to expenses of people that really aren't necessary to get them to the next level. And it's sad to say that, but this is where we're going to.
Here's what it's offering in severance. Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro told staffers that the Mouse House is laying off workers less than a month into his new role. The cuts come after Disney unified its enterprise marketing and brand teams earlier this year. Business Insider's James Ferris reported that laid-off workers will receive a severance package based on their level and length of tenure at the company, according to Disney's employee handbook. Non-managers with less than 5 years of experience will get 4 weeks of pay. Those with more than 5 years will get 1 week of additional pay for every year worked, for up to 52 weeks. Managers receive slightly more upfront, with 6 weeks for those under 5 years, and additional pay based on tenure for senior employees. Some workers also said that they received a prorated bonus, vacation days, and continued healthcare for several months. So, how does Disney's severance offer compare to other media companies? Paramount recently offered 2 weeks of pay for each year of service to hybrid workers who didn't want to return to in-person work. The Washington Post gave 4 weeks of base pay plus additional weeks based on tenure, keeping some employees on payroll for up to 2 months after layoffs. And NBC Universal offered 8 weeks of pay and continued health coverage for 3 months. So the takeaway this week, Disney is mostly in line with other media companies in terms of what it's offering to laid-off employees.
It's a bloodbath at Disney, and Marvel Studios just took the worst of it. Yesterday, the company laid off approximately 1,000 employees company-wide, and nearly the entire visual development team at Marvel was let go.
Before I spread this post, when I saw it on social media, I needed to fact check it. So I reached out to my good friend Andy Park, who was the genius behind creating the original Wasp supersuit and the original Wasp concept drawings for the film Ant-Man and the Wasp, and just said, is this true? Is this really what's happening? And he said, yeah, it's true. I have been let go. And I can't quite believe that Disney have let go of the artists who brought the current Marvel universe to life through their imagination and their genius. That the people who...
So if you don't get it, they don't care. You got to realize that they don't care. And if you think that they care, then you're kind of behind. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these people, and I know people that used to work on the studios and on sets for some of these movies, and I was talking to a couple of them when it came to, hey, I want to move out of just doing movies into like real estate, in the real estate space. I want to add more to my portfolio. And some of them, they were smart. They got money and bought real estate, or got money, opened a side hustle, had a couple properties, diversified. The people that didn't, they are the ones right now that are crying. They're the ones right now who put all of their trust and their faith in this Disney machine, which you can't bash them. How many times do you go into a job and they want your utter commitment to everything, and they will put so many things on you, and you're like, this is not even my job, but they will do it. Disney doesn't care. They're just like that. No different than Oracle, no different than Amazon or any of these other places. It's just that a lot of people were deceived. And I still believe a lot of people are deceived, thinking that these positions really kind of exemplifies who they are. Like, people draw their value from their job. And because they draw their value from their job, and that job gives them their identity, when things like this happen, they go into a frenzy, okay? And I know she's an actor. She looks a little different. I think her name is Izio. Last name begins with an L. Forgot that. I'm gonna pull it up because I don't want to just mercilessly just destroy who she is. But at the end of the day, she's feeling self-pity. And the truth is, anybody can get it right now. When I say anybody can get it, from Brad Pitt down to Dick Wolf, down to any of them that's an executive producer. See, what gets me is that a lot of these executive producers and writers don't even get their mind hasn't even caught up to the fact that OpenAI and Claude can literally write the scripts based on a prompt. We don't even need script writers. Now, I'm of the belief that we still do need script writers. And I'm going to tell you why. You need somebody to review that stuff that comes out of them. And you need somebody with a good mind, a good concept of what a good story looks like, to actually check it, validate it, change it around, adjust it for any hallucinations. And if you don't know what hallucinations are, like I said before, that's when AI spits out something that you did not program it or ask it to do. False information, which it does, I don't say quite a bit, but probably 2 out of every 10 times. That's enough to screw up anything you got going on, especially if you put a manuscript, you wanted to produce a manuscript that in some cases are 1,000 pages long. You got to think about it. Who's going to read that 1,000 pages and say, this doesn't look right, we need to change this scene and adjust this scene? So there's a lot of things that are going on in the background. AI, and don't you be confused, AI is here in Hollywood, and the Hollywood that we saw before, the Marvel Studios, all the stuff that ran 150K, 150 million, okay, to actually produce, and they only get 100 million back or 50 million back because I'm not sitting in the theaters. And I'm sure if you want to sit in the theater, you can. Last time I went, the dude that was 2 rows down was crazy, all right, off the wall. Oh, no. I'm not planning on sitting in a dark room with a bunch of people anytime soon. Just let you know. That's not my thing, okay? Especially if I don't have my heat on me. And if you don't know what that is, you figure it out.
Invented these characters in the first place, who designed them in the first place, are now being replaced by AI. AI that, well...
And before we even go further, this is self-pity. This is pity she's advocating for a little bit, because these people produced these things or created Wasp Man or Ant-Man, the Wasp or Ant-Man, any of these TV or movies, it doesn't matter that they created. See, this is why we talk about getting a brand. This is why I sit in front of you and I could be out there doing a 50 to 100, 300 calls that some of these realtors are trying to do, or taking your business card, rolling up to you in the shopping line. Hey, here's my card. Use me to buy your house. No, I'm making content. I'm making content. Okay, because this is where everything is actually going. Some people haven't gotten it yet. They're not there. That's why I say build a brand. Build a brand. Because when you're making content and you're doing things like this that I'm doing, and this is an evergreen, somebody might listen to it a year from now, 6 years from now, 6 months from now, it's evergreen. Not like YouTube, not like TikTok or any of these other platforms. So they did not build a brand. So their intellectual property, their IP, Wasp, Ant-Man, belongs to Disney. It doesn't belong to them. So if they made it, they're just workers who were working and on their job created and made something that they're not going to get value from. And if they get any residual checks, it's this amount. Mark my words. I've seen these guys talk about their residual checks that they get. No, the executive producers, the actors, directors, they get a bulk of it. But these guys that work in the back, that do all the little modeling, putting these suits together and all this different stuff, no, they don't come here thinking that they have some level of It was the best word to put it. That they're spared in this, right? No. There's no amnesty for them. They get it too, because on the clock, everything they did belonged to Disney. Don't let this be you. That's why we're talking about this also. Okay?
Take their designs and take what those artists created and use it to create iterations of that. I am so sorry, Andy, and I am so sorry to every single one of the artists who were let go in the 1,000 artists that Disney fired, and particularly the entire team at Marvel who have been considered obsolete now after building the Marvel empire. If you're a huge fan of Marvel, just take a moment today to think about them, to send up a prayer for them, to honor the people who created the world that you fell in love with. That was a human invention. These were human creations.
These people were doing their job. That's it. What it comes down to, they were doing their job. I'm becoming more and more of an advocate of you, whether you're watching this on your lunchtime or watching this in the evening when you got home. It doesn't matter. You need to start building. You need to start building, whether it's real estate, whether it's AI. I don't care if it's walking dogs. I don't care if it's pooper scooper. And it's crazy. I found a business picking up poop that this guy's making multi-millions. It's like, damn, the simplest thing. But you need to do something outside of just what you do. I'm not saying leave your job, but this is only going to get bigger. It's not going to get smaller. It's going to get bigger. It's going to grow. It's not going to get smaller.
And they shouldn't be stolen by tech giants so that their robots can replicate them. I think it's disgusting and horrible. And I stand with all the artists. And Andy, I'm so sorry. And I love you guys.
You may not know the name Coyote, but if you work in Hollywood, you know the trucks, the stages, the gear, and the Star Wagons. And now that company is part of the much bigger reset happening in the industry. Coyote is winding down most of its LA soundstage business, and they're leaving Georgia and New Mexico entirely, where they operated vehicle fleets and a big equipment rental business.
What I discovered is the support portion to Disney is so big. Like, I don't think Marvel, because they let 1,000 people go from that Marvel section, is going to rock it. I believe because they're letting these people go and they're slowly starting to making a face to AI, and not spending as much money on movies that they did before, and they're being very selective. Companies like this that support the movie industry is where we're going to see the most effect in the economy, because these companies, they employ real people like you and me. We get up. We're not Brad Pitt. We're not getting a big cut from our job. We're not even an A or B level. We're not even a C level actor. They're just putting stuff into carts, into trucks, and making sure they get there safely so that actors can have a place to chill at when they're in between takes on a show. They're cutting it. These are the people that are really going to be affected. They're really going to be affected. This is a nationwide company.
I'm Jason Fisher, the founder of Stage Runner and former head of production at Disney, Paramount, and AMC. So I spoke with a number of people close to the company, and the bigger picture is this. Coyote is not disappearing. Their lighting, grip, and truck rental business will continue in LA and New York. They also lease Griffith Park Studios. They've got a hit show there, so that studio is going to remain open. And both Sunset Studios in West Hollywood and the brand new Pier 94 Studios in Manhattan, neither of those are going to be impacted. In fact, both of them are basically full right now, killing it. But this still is a big shift. And remember, we've also got Radford Studios, which Hackman bought in 2021 for $1.8 billion. That now looks to be going to Netflix for around $350 million. Ugh, the irony of that one.
$1.8 billion to $350 million. See, everything's a fire sale. This is no different than real estate when somebody's got to sell because the market's under pressure. They got to sell. It's a fire sale. Okay. This is, I think when I look at this too, and I've been studying this out, the misconception is that because this industry is still booming alongside what's taking place in Hollywood, Disney and Marvel, that they're still moving, that this is where it's going to be. How is this going to be still a viable business, okay, a value-based business? How's this business still going to work when you don't have people to even sit in the carts and in the things that they provide for actors? It's just a matter of time before these actors are like, there's a wrap. Hold on, this wife. What's up, baby? I'm streaming. How you hopping off just like that? Okay, bye. It's like I don't feel like talking online right now. All right, cool.
We need to do a separate post on that entirely. And by the way, I'm also hearing Rick Caruso is in final talks to buy CBS Television City on Fairfax. So the key takeaway, sound stages still matter, but the market is getting much smaller and much more selective. Purpose-built stages in the right locations are still the big draw for the big shows. But most importantly, I really feel for the Quixote employees impacted by this. It's such a tough moment for a lot of really talented people.
Go to the other end of the spectrum, and you've got generative AI, where they can make up a character, they can make up an actor, they can make up a performance from scratch with a text prompt. It's like, no, that's horrifying to me. That's the opposite. That's exactly what we're not doing.
And why is it horrifying to you?
Horrifying to me because I don't, first of all, I don't want a computer doing what I pride myself on being able to do with actors. I don't want to replace actors. I love working with actors. I'm not even really an animator. I'm not interested in animating. I'm interested in directing. So it's all about how I can write something and how I can assist them through a process of finding that emotional moment. And I don't think that's ever going to change, frankly. I don't think Gen AI is going to come in and replace that. I think Gen AI will play a role in making VFX more efficient and therefore cheaper, and then opening back up. See, right now, imaginative films, fantastic films, science fiction films, they're starting to die off as a breed because they're expensive, and the theatrical marketplace has contracted. And so now studios are only comfortable spending those kinds of dollar amounts with blue chip IP, that which we've seen, that which we know. So a movie like Avatar would never get made in that environment. That was brand new IP. Nobody had ever heard of it.
Yeah. So they're only going to bet on what they know, what they like, and what they trust is actually going to perform. And the days of them throwing $100 million against a movie screen, which damn, I think about $100 million. You know how many people that can actually feed, man? That's crazy. Against a movie screen to make a movie, going to be over. This is my opinion, okay? I believe that they're going to fire these people and they're going to hire back a fraction of these people once they have the systems and the workflows and going on how to produce this. And I'm not talking anything foreign. If you go to Alex Hormozy's channel on YouTube, if you don't know who Alex Hormozy is, he's the author of $100 million leads, $100 million offers, $100 million money models. Basically, the epitome of when it comes to marketing and sales and offers and business structure online, okay? Alex right now is doing somewhere between 20 to about 40 posts a day. And he's using AI. When I was looking at it this week, and I thought it was crazy. He's using AI to generate and create these posts, which I do with some of my other posts on sites like Facebook and Instagram. But he's taking it a step further. He's using it on a long form platform like YouTube to create actual content that's long form content stretching 4 or 5 minutes or longer, okay? And because AI has given him that lift based on the pool of information that it has about him, his products, his service, what he does already, it's changing completely the game when it comes to how he produces content. So for us, you say, Leon, it's a real estate channel. Why the heck you talking about this? I'm talking about it because I like you. I'm gonna tell you this is the fact. when I do a lot of my content, not when I first started this channel, but up to this point, I did it just to speak to people in general. Now I'm speaking to people who are more like me, who understand where they're at right now, that the world is changing, and they need to get in a position, if they're not already in a position or have some parts or their foot or leg somewhere in something, they're just starting it, to go and persistently finish this. Because how we see business and how you get business done is changing drastically. And they're not going to wait for you to keep up. There's going to be a large amount of people who refuse to learn, refuse to accept, refuse to make the change, just like with the dot-com boom, just like with that box that sits on your desk called a computer. If it's on your desk, no, that box that is actually on your phone called a computer. The reason why some people are up to the pace right now where they know how to actually use some computers, it's because, man, not Tim Cook, but yeah, Apple forced them to actually take a computer in the form of a phone and use it. If Apple didn't do it, I knew another company would do it, but if Apple didn't do it, you got to think how many people will be computer literate or tech literate right now. It's literally thrust. Some of them were just thrust into that spot of, I got to get an iPhone. I got to switch from that to a flip phone. Okay. Think about that. Or if you're one of those people, or your parents were one of those people, or your grandparents were one of those people, are they really up to par on Apple? Very few of them are really up to par on how to actually use the phone and how to maneuver through some things, but they know enough to call you, right? This is the change. When I keep looking at AI that's coming down the line, this is the change. It's going to affect everybody. Everybody's going to get it. Everybody's going to get it. Everybody's going to get it. And I feel sad about these people in Disney, like in Marvel. I know some of the people that work on some of these Atlanta studios, and to know that their jobs are going to be lost, not the 1,000 out of Marvel, but the support for those 1,000 people, support for the films. It's sad, man. It's sad, but it's really, I would say, highlighting in some ways what's going to happen more and more as we approach this big, huge change that's taking place. This change is bigger than a lot of people really think, know, or even see. All right. I'm going to pause for a second because your boy, you know what I did this today, right? I misspelt the word in this takeover, in this clip over, so I need to get this fixed. And I'm fixing it right now. Facts. Yo, man, holla at your boy wherever you're from. If you're from where you're from, shout out your city. And if you actually think I ain't going nowhere, I'm here. Boom, boom. And here we go. This is how we do. Look at you. Y'all getting a chance to see how this attorney used to tell me this is how the spaghetti's made. Or he said, Leon, this is how the food is made. I'm like, I don't care too much about how the food is made, bro. Just pay me. Yeah, just pay me. I'm not trying to see how the meat is made. The sausage are made. He said the sausage. That's what he said, how the sausages are made. All right, cool, man. Shoot, but this puts us on a larger conversation because the things that are going on in California affect not just you, not just Marvel, but it's affected everybody. And officially right now, San Francisco is the most expensive place to actually live right now in the country.
Well, it's no secret, artificial intelligence, part of San Francisco's rebirth. But while the work is a draw, the real estate market may be a drawback.
NBC Bay Area's Chris Sanchez is with us right now. And Chris, talk to us about how AI is impacting home prices here.
Well, how's this for some perspective? The average San Francisco home sold for nearly 9% over asking last month, according to Redfin, and the city is now the most expensive metro area in the entire country. Let's take a look at the numbers here. The median home price in the city was $1.7 million last month. Home sale prices are more than 14% higher than last March. But look at the condo sales. Prices are 24% higher year over year. Now,
what's the craziest part about this, and this is just a rule of thumb so you understand, condos in a market go first before homes go. So in this case right here, the condo market is actually shooting up past the freaking homes market. And this is the 2025 stats. They're looking at this based on 2026 right now. Okay. This is all we can do when we look at data for real estate is go back quarter. We can go back a year, but the year 12 month from this period, that's why it's March. So it's 12 months from this March, and we're in May right now, right? But it's 12 months from March market data up until this March market data. So the condos are, when I'm looking at this and I see it, I'm wondering how they're overpaying for all of this, but it makes sense because California is going to be competing, or they already started competing with Florida for the AI market.
AI is driving much of these costs because companies, they're growing, they're hiring, and a lot of them are requiring employees to work in person. But housing inventory is not keeping up. Just in the last couple of minutes, I talked with a real estate agent from the biddings team with Christie's San Francisco, who says San Francisco is expensive, but it is worth the investment. He says that anytime you have market constriction and you have low inventory, it is a good place to park your real estate dollars if you can. San Francisco.
Man, I have people calling me from California trying to buy in Georgia. This is a lot of BS. And the average person wouldn't see how much BS this is. So I went ahead and got reactions on this particular change that's taking place in San Fran so you can see. This is BS. It is. And you will look back at this and you'll be like, oh yeah, real estate in San Francisco is it. Bro, they making y'all come home now. They making y'all come home. It used to be you could work for these tech companies. Like I worked for a fintech company, contracted for them on the side. When you can do sales and you do B2B sales, that's when you get these types of positions. That's why I tell people, build your skill level and stack skills. So I can go to a fintech company if they need me to talk to CEOs about their tech product, which they did. I was able to talk to CEOs about their tech product, about coming on board. So I'm at this fintech company and I started realizing more and more how much this thing called AI was going to change people. I already started seeing that. But you got to realize when you start getting into this, the selling skill is going to be more and more big. And you got to be able to research. I feel like the information they give us is wrong a lot of times on the news.
Francisco bumped San Jose out of the top spot in March, but not by much. In San Jose, the median home price in March was more than $1.64 million, which is about what it was last year. Potential buyers can get a price break if they want to commute to San Francisco from Oakland, where the median price is less than $1 million. It's actually about 7% less than it was a year ago. So a lot of folks would say, hey, then this is a great time to sell your home. But the problem is that agent tells us that people are having a hard time because once you sell your home,
where are you going to go?
Where are you going to buy, right?
Yeah.
Unless you want to leave or move farther away.
Which a lot of people do.
And true, but if you have kids and you have to stay in a certain school district, it just makes it really, really difficult. So right now that's contributing to the low inventory as well.
Yeah. And like I was saying with the sales portion on the fintech side, you have to consider that when you stack your skills, these guys are no longer allowing you to do remote work. I was able to do remote work. Okay. A lot of the contracting positions right now, you could probably get away with remote work. The employee positions have, what I've noticed, have dwindled, and you got more contracting positions. Like they just want you to come in, be able to do something with a product, whatever it may be that they need, sales or either, B2B, marketing, whatever the case may be. But the contractors, they'll allow us to be remote, but they won't allow the employees like they had at one time to be remote. So they're really constricting and bringing in a lot of that crap that was out there, bro. And I personally believe it's going to make it harder for a lot of people. A lot of people. Let's go. Come on.
If you're only making $100K a year in the Bay Area, you're actually pretty close to broke. You're actually almost defined as low income.
So making $100K in the Bay Area, in that San Francisco Bay Area, really puts you on the brink of poverty. That's literally what they're saying right now.
Low income in SF for an individual is $82K a year, and for a family of 4, it's almost $120,000 a year. For context, the average American salary is about $36,000 a year. Why are the salaries so high in the Bay Area? Because the cost of living is so high. The average 1-bedroom in SF is $3,100 a month, and the average 2-bedroom is $4,100 a month. Don't even get me started on condos and houses. The average condo price in San Francisco is almost $1.3 million. And for houses in the Bay Area, not just San Francisco, $1.3 million. You make a ton of money working and living in San Francisco, but your expenses are so high, your tax rate is high, your rent is high, food is so expensive that you are effectively left with almost no money. If you make $100,000 as an individual, you're probably the poorest person in any room that you walk into. And if you make that as a family, dude, you're on food stamps and you're qualifying for Section 8 housing. As San Francisco is just out of control with this.
The rents are getting so high in San Francisco because all of these AI employees have more cash than ever because the employers are not skimping on cash or equity for that matter, but the salaries are really high even for somebody junior. And so the competition for apartments and other things is higher than ever because people have money to spend.
I think of San Francisco as a wave city. It always ebbs and flows depending on what's going on. I mean, you've seen up and down and up and down. And during COVID, it was no secret that San Francisco has really struggled. And now with this AI wave, San Francisco has been revived because there is just so much going on. It's really an AI hub more than I think any other city. First of all, San Francisco is a 7x7 city. It's not very large. So you have a lot of people concentrated into a small space and then combined with all the infrastructure and office spaces and everything else. So I'm always rooting for San Francisco as it being a hometown, but I think it's great.
Yeah, well, you think it's great because you're not renting an apartment there as you happily sit in St. Louis in your house. Right. That if you wanted to spend the same amount of money on a place in San Francisco, you could buy maybe a studio.
If that.
Yeah, she need to tell her because I could make comments on living in Cali, even though I've had relatives that lived in Cali, in San Francisco, LA specifically, but bro, it's too expensive. To me, it's too expensive. It doesn't matter how much you make. 150,000, 125,000. Sure, it's not the highest of the high, but the reality of it is, if I'm living in Atlanta, I can live pretty good, okay, off of 125, 150,000. Even now, like I don't even see how they can live in Cali, make that amount. And some of y'all got to tell me if you've ever lived in Cali, like why? What? I know what makes people stay there. It's not even the jobs. It's just the air, the open space, the sun, the weather, you know. But I don't know. I'm not sold on making 150 in Cali with higher cost of living than making 150 in Atlanta. But like I said earlier, these jobs are moving away from Atlanta. They're moving to certain places, and Cali and Florida are becoming AI hubs faster than we even think.
I think it'd be a studio in a place I wouldn't really necessarily want to be living in.
Right, in an up-and-coming neighborhood. But even at this point, most of those up-and-coming neighborhoods are still already on the take versus on the down low. So,
right.
I get asked a lot how I afford to live in San Francisco. I'm going to break that down for you right now. I have 3 jobs. Hope that helps.
No.
I would have to say it's not affordable to live in San Francisco. Like, it's expensive as fuck. You could have roommates, though, and it makes it better. Like, I have a roommate. You kind of have to have a roommate unless you make a lot of money. But yeah, like, a gallon of milk is probably, like almond milk I buy is, like, $6-7, which I feel like is a lot. I feel like it's, like, $4 where other people live.
Damn, $6-7? Man, if you were in Cali and you spend $6-7 for almond milk, that is crazy. That's expensive, yo. That's really expensive, right? Oh, that's crazy. That's expensive. I gotta look. Hold on. I gotta ask. I gotta see this. Hold it. Oh man. Hold on. The milk. Let's see what this looks like. Kroger, right? $6-7, bro. Yo, the same almond milk. That same almond milk in Atlanta. I'm looking at the Kroger, the Instacart right now. If I ordered an Instacart, bro, it's like $3.99. Y'all are literally double. $3.59, $2.99. I see $5.99. Okay, but that's a bigger jar, bigger jug. A jug. Oh snap, man! That's too much. That's way too much.
So we pay $5,400 in the San Francisco Bay Area for a 2-bedroom apartment. Yeah, it's tough to survive and barely surviving, I guess you could say. So that $5,400, it includes the 2-bedroom apartment. Yeah, it has amenities, it has a swimming pool. We actually had to choose this path. We were in other places in San Francisco, but we had to move to a new development because our youngest was getting asthma. There was always mold in any apartment we would go to, and our son would be coughing so much, his asthma got worse, and then ever since we moved to new development apartments, his asthma never came back.
Would you pay $4,000 a month to live in San Francisco, or is that insane?
No.
One thing that people don't talk about before you move here is that the cost of living will literally punch you in the face and throw you around like you never thought possible. I'm talking $8 lattes, $70 dinners with only one drink, and rent that's going to make you question all of your choices. It's insane. No AC included as well. But one thing that I have learned that works for me is pick your splurges. I'll drop money on a...
Did she say no AC included? So you guys are living in Cali without, and you're paying that price, and sometimes you don't have AC in the house, but then they will advocate for you to have a rent type of, I think what the same thing they have in New York. Like you're restricted to a certain amount of rent. The landlord can't charge you more. Right? Rent control. That's what it's called. I kind of feel like they should be advocating for better conditions. And that's the thing. When you have rent control, and I've said it before, you're not going to have the highest quality of living. Okay? Rent control controls the landlord, but it also makes it where you don't get the things that you need done in your unit, because the landlord cannot charge the market rate that he would normally charge. So it affects the quality of your life. And that's why you find out some of these reviews and commentary from people, they talk about them living in mold infested apartments with kids because they're more concerned with rent control and living in a specific city. So you got to live in a specific city, and you can't leave that city because you like that city, and that same city is giving mold to your children in the living environment, but it's cheaper and you advocate for it because it's rent control. I don't know about that. I don't know. You tell me. I'm not sold on that. I'd rather go somewhere where my money at least will give me a good quality place.
Great meal without thinking twice. But I balance it with a lot of different free experiences like hikes, Dolores Park days, farmers markets, the little things that don't break the bank. It's about knowing what actually matters to you. And I'm so curious, as people have gotten older, how have they balanced figuring out what matters and is most critical to them and their happiness when living in a city?
Here's how you afford to live in San Francisco as a non-rich person like me. Step 1, don't have a car. That's pretty much the biggest step. It's just don't have a car. When I lived in Delaware, I had to have a car to get around, to get to work, just live. My car payment was $450. My insurance was a bit over $100, so that's like $570 now. I'd spent like $60, $70 on gas. Now we're up to a little over $600, and then you think about registration and vehicle maintenance, which I did myself, so I saved money. But even still, we're looking at close to $700 I used to spend per month on my car. Now I don't have a car, you just have to think, okay, well, rent is way higher here. So I just put that $700 that I used to spend on my car toward rent.
So this is my question. You're watching this. Is it better to live in a place that you want at a lower quality of life than to live in a place that you may not necessarily be, it may not necessarily be your first choice, but you have a higher quality of life. And I think the second one is better because I may not like, I've lived by the beach, got off my corporate position at 12 o'clock and I'm sipping a beer at 1 o'clock on the beach. And I did that for 3 years, 3 years specifically. And it felt way good, you know? Now, coming back to Atlanta, I didn't necessarily want to be back in Atlanta. Yeah, I prefer to be smoking a cigar on the beach. But I needed some habits I needed to change, and that was one of them, of course. But it was still a better quality of life for my kids. And I don't know, like, I don't know how people make these decisions. And it confuses me a little bit because the quality of life thing to me affects you as you go down and you live in your life. Like this year, you can deal with a landlord that doesn't act right. You can deal with pipes that fall apart or burst. You pay extra. Like we pay, to me, I yell at $50 for an Uber at 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock in Atlanta because that's $50, knowing still that it's a lot of traffic. Some people, that same $50 can be $100 to $150 in San Fran. That's not a great quality of life. And maybe San Francisco is just for people who don't have children, because I can't quite see how y'all would actually exchange that quality of life to live somewhere where the sun is shining and it's beautiful and it feels good. But damn, I mean, I at least want my water to be at a certain place. I want what I put in my body to be a certain way. I don't want to have mold in my lungs when I sleep at night. And these are the type of decisions I do this stuff because I'm telling people, like, y'all got to make better life decisions. And I'm not standing here like some of these other podcasters and blaming you, because I've made bad life decisions in my life too. Not like terrible that destroyed my life, but it's enough to make one bad decision and be like, dang, I wish I did that differently.
That's pretty much it. That's how you afford to live here, is you just live in the city, work in the city, don't have a car.
The day we figured would come has arrived, and I have officially been priced out of my apartment. Woo! No matter which way we cut it, I will not be living in this house. The 80-day countdown starts here. I think we're probably gonna move that out of the neighborhood. And so asking for, not a friend, asking for me, where do I have to check out? Like, what do I have to see and try while it's still walking distance? We live in the Embarcadero. We live kind of by Jackson Square. I'm thinking North Beach, too far away, no parking, will not be back anytime soon. Chinatown, same thing. Rincon Hill, I don't know, downtown, Fidei, any of these things, let me know. What are your favorite spots to go to for me to try, for me to share with all of you my perspective before the 80-day countdown is up.
So y'all get excited of being priced out? I mean, there's nothing wrong with being priced out. I guess that's an exciting thing, you know. That means, I guess, what does that mean? If you're in Cali and you get priced out of rent control, does that mean like you get a higher place of value that you can move to? Like, does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, to me, and I can't be. I try not to be critical when it comes to bashing some of these people. But I got to tell y'all, you cannot live on accepting less or lower quality and be happy about that. You wasn't designed to live like that, you know. Like, we suffer and we go through a lot of this shit. I'm not cussing. I'm doing good. But we're dealing with a lot of different things, and I'm going to keep it clean. But you wasn't designed to live like that, okay? At the end of the day, you wasn't. I don't think this is something that we should be happy about. Like, when I look at it, Gavin Newsom just bought a I think I got that video. I'm going to shoot it over here. He just bought a $9-point-something million place, bro, in Cali. And the people in his county, in his country, it is the Republic of Cali, right? They can't even afford to live. I don't see how that makes any sense whatsoever. Not one bit. And he's the one advocating for the tech companies to come there to recruit and bring the jobs that outprice everybody who's not in the tech space or just maybe normal people and making it harder for them. So this thing doesn't really balance out a lot. It doesn't. That's why making these better decisions, quality decisions, affect you building your wealth. To me, black people who talk generational wealth wouldn't even look at Cali. Wouldn't. Because I have people that don't look like me, white folks, Indian folks, call me from Cali to invest their money in Georgia. Why? Why do we do that? Like, why? Why do we think that that's an okay thing to do with your extra money? This is your time, your energy, your life force that made it possible for you to be where you are. Without that life force, you just going to experience a lot of crap. I don't know, man. I can't call it. I fall in that piece with Gavin Newsom, though. Let me, I'm gonna airdrop it right here real quick. Boom. Because I thought it was crazy, and I thought I didn't think people really looked at this. Because at the end of the day, these are the people that we vote to. Well, I'm not voting. Y'all got Cali. I'm not voting for anything California. And I'm not advocating. Cali's not a bad place, too. Don't get it twisted. If you posture yourself right, you're going to make some money in Cali, okay? People make good money in Cali. You can go anywhere and make good money with the right skills. But why would you spend as much that you make? Like, I think it's dope when you make that money and you leave out. So you treat it like a period of time. Hey, I'm here for 6 months. I'm here for 2 years. I'm going to make as much as I can, and I'm going to skip out. I got neighbors down the street who had a bungalow. This thing was probably 800 square feet in Cali. It's like a shotgun house. They got the bungalow in Cali. They sell the bungalow and move to Georgia. And the craziest part, they made a load of money selling the bungalow. They used half that amount of money to actually buy the house that they live in now in cash. If you're doing that in Cali, I'm all for you, because that was when it was good. This was pre-COVID, right at that COVID switch. But now, do the best thing for your family, bro.
Something in San Francisco. Today we are going to go see 3 houses or 4 houses. The only new news that I want to share with you guys is that on Friday we found out what the winning offer was on the only house that we put an offer in. Our offer was like only $50K over asking. We were not trying to win. We knew we weren't going to win. We knew we were.
Whoa. Let me slow down. You heard she say $50K over asking. That means if the house is $500,000, you offer $550,000 against other people that were competing, and you still lost it? I'm telling y'all, quality of life, bro.
To be the lowest, and we were the lowest of 8 offers on the home. The winning offer, we found out on Friday, was $1 million over the asking price. So,
oh God, $1 million over asking price. Like, subscribe, follow. I swear, when this school community is done, I want everyone to be empowered. You're not paying a bunch of money to get this information. You getting enough information to go do it. Not to depend on me, not to depend on the other guru, but to go do it. Because it is a wealth shift that's happening. And she cracks up about that, $50,000 over asking price. It's multiple reasons why you shouldn't be doing that. And if you think that's the best way to do it, like you're supposed to be doing that, you're like really locked in this tunnel vision. And I tell buyers that you're in this tunnel vision. You don't see left and right. And when you do open your eyes, you're in a place you didn't want to be there, and you stayed longer than you wanted to stay. That's really what it comes down to.
Oh, that's incredible news for us, and making us feel really, really hopeful and optimistic about this journey.
California Governor Gavin Newsom just dropped $9 million on a luxurious mansion outside of San Francisco. But just across the Golden Gate Bridge, the Blue City continues to battle massive waves of crime and homelessness. The Newsom family snatched the $9.1 million mansion off the market earlier this month. The 5,600 square foot home boasts 6 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms, a chef's kitchen, floor-to-ceiling windows, a guest house, outdoor sculptures, and a swimming pool and spa, just to name a few features. The architecturally stunning home is in Kentfield, which is just north of the city and has around 6,800 residents. Homes went for a median $2.8 million last month. While some neighbors are thrilled to see the high-profile family moving in, not all are lining up to throw them a block party. After hearing the news, one neighbor said, "I'll be cordial, but he is not getting a pie from me." The Newsom family's purchase was the 5th most expensive in Kentfield since 1999, according to a local appraisal blog.
In the Bay Area. Yeah, so let's talk about what
She about to get on it again. That's insane. When I'm not trying. This is not. I'm not going to make this to a Democrat and Republican thing. I'm just not going to. Okay, because at the end of the day, there's fraudulent people on both sides. I'm not going to. One thing I will tell you, it's insane in my perspective for a governor, a public servant, somebody that never contributed to the flow of the economy, who didn't create anything. When I say contribute, I'm not talking about making laws and rules and putting these things into place. I am legit talking about building something, employing people like you and me, making those opportunities available to them through their labor to buy a place like that. And I got to sit back and wonder how much. Ooh, that's a good question. How much does he make? Is he living on rent control? How much does the governor of California make? I want to know what his salary is. Probably not the best thing to do right now, but who cares? Okay, governor of California earns. You better get your Gemini up too. Check this out.
California earns an annual salary of $245,929. This figure went into effect on December 1st, 2025, following a decision by the California Citizens Compensation Commission. To give you an idea of how that breaks down, monthly, approximately $20,494. Weekly, approximately $4,729. California typically has one of the highest gubernatorial salaries in the U.S., though it is often slightly trailed by the governor of New York. It's worth noting that while the salary is set at this level, some governors in the past have chosen to decline or donate a portion of their pay. But $245,929 remains the official rate for the current term.
Ooh, $245,000. I don't think he earns that amount. Honestly, I don't think he's worth that amount. I don't see anything that's worth. He actually gets paid more than the president of the United States, even though he doesn't need that money either. But he gets paid a lot. $245,000. So $245,000 he used to buy an $8 million spot. Come on, man. A $9 million spot. See, the mistake is these are the people that y'all put into office. And then we complain about a lot of things. And I don't live in Cali. I ain't got a dog in the fight. But it is weird to me. It's like very weird that somebody who never contributed to helping helping California citizens live a better life lives in a $9 million place. And some people can't even afford to even pay their rent. And they probably contribute more to their community and society than he does. Bro, why is this world upside down? Somebody tell me.
Takes to buy a home in the Bay Area, and my thoughts on this as someone who grew up in the Midwest and was just not around the concept of you have to pay $2 million to buy a home. Okay, so all the homes that I showed in this video that we went to last weekend were listed price between 1.7 and 2.1. Okay, all of these homes were in roughly like the same like square footage range. I would say between like 1,700 to 2,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms, like nothing outrageous, right? Like growing up to me, in the Midwest, if you were to tell me you were buying a $2 million home, I'm like, you're getting a mansion. You're getting a mansion with a pool and a sauna and a guest house and 2-acre lot. Like, this is what I'm expecting when you tell me you're buying a $2 million home. But that is not the reality here. The reality here is that you're lucky if you get a garage, okay? You're lucky if you get more than one parking spot. And the San Francisco housing market specifically right now has very low supply and very high demand. So most homes are going for hundreds of thousands of dollars over.
No, Bay Area real estate is so unhinged because what do you mean a woman unalived her husband, her 2 kids, and herself in this San Francisco house 6 months ago, and it just sold for $700,000 over asking. So it was listed at $1.5 million and sold.
So this is a common thing in Cali, which I didn't understand or know, and I had to do some research on it. That would blow people living in Atlanta out the water. All of y'all in Atlanta shout, "Oh no!" Because I don't see how I would actually do that. I couldn't advocate as an agent for any of my clients to actually do that. As a broker, I probably would go out of business because I'm sitting back like, damn, don't do that. And I probably wouldn't be an agent no more in there. Who knows? But at the end of the day, bro, that's a lot. You're talking about $700,000 over ask price. The most I've actually sold a house for a fix and flip project that I've done has been about $35K over ask price. And I thought that was crazy. I said, damn, they're about to pay $35K over the ask price. Now, I didn't run to them and tell them don't do it because I'm not representing them. And honestly, you do what you want to do. There's a fool born every minute, you know? Oh, no. You can do it. That's stupid. That's insane. Nobody thinks about what about when the values adjust and you're stuck in it and you're upside down.
$2.2 million. Do people want to live in San Francisco that bad? Couldn't be me.
Just trying to get used to the process of putting offers down, not getting accepted, because that is sort of the name of the game here unless you get lucky. So we put in our offer. It was only $50K above asking, which is nothing here. And our agent told us that they got 8 offers on the home. They went with the highest one. Ours was the lowest one. Despite us writing a cutie letter about how great and fun and how excited we are to live in their home, they didn't choose us, okay? But again, that's just the name of the game. It is a...
Hold on. These cutie letters that your agents get you to write, that stuff don't mean nothing. I've turned down enough of those cutie letters for fix and flip projects. Honestly, I'll turn yours down too. Don't put a picture of the kids in there. It would be so cold to you. You'll think I didn't like your kids. And I like kids. No problem. I got kids. They're cool, you know? Kids and a dog. But honestly, I don't need your pictures. And I need to say it because if you're watching this and somebody sends you that, that's to me, that's the epitome of manipulation. You trying to manipulate me away from the numbers to an emotional decision. That's why I say some of these agents need to be fired, bro. That's not a good play. It doesn't speak great for the buyer because they're doing that level of manipulation. And in that market, it seems like they got to do that stuff. They're pulling on the emotional heartstrings of the people that they're buying it from. I ain't saying that.
San Francisco real estate pricing explained, and at the end, we'll do a little bit about offer strategy and how to bid on these homes. Single-family homes are intentionally priced low. That's not the price that they want. It's kind of an auction-style starting bid. Let's start the bidding at $1,099,000, even though the home may sell for 1.3, 1.5, up to $2 million. Who knows? So if you're just casually browsing Zillow and you see something like this, oh, okay, Outer Sunset, okay, I like those prices. Stop doing that and switch over to sold data because this will tell you exactly how much these properties sold for, not what they're listed for. Condos, on the other hand, condos, co-ops, TICs, these are transparently priced. The price you see on that condo is the price that they want, the price they expect. Now, they're going to set an offer day just like a single family home.
Homeboy said that's the price they expect. That means it's not going lower. That means you're still going to have multiple offers and be competing against other people, but it won't be lower than what they put on there. And remember I told you when we started this, condos are the very first thing to collapse when the market starts to fall. Condos are the very first thing to go. They're going to drop like a hot pocket. And they're doing it already in multiple metropolitans.
But More times than not, they're not going to get multiple offers on that offer day. You'll see condos that sit on the market for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a couple of months even. And those are the ones that will sell for list price or maybe even below. But yeah, if you see condos that are...
So you're going to end up getting the leftovers, what nobody wants. Man, Cali, bro, man. Y'all got the game out there, bro. Y'all got game. Y'all got some of the best hip hop artists. Y'all got Pac. I was ready to go to Cali when Pac was there. I was ready to go. I was like, man, I think I'm supposed to move to Cali. Pac is out there. That's the life. I ain't know no better. Trust me. Ain't know no better. Ain't no better. Got the money, the women. I ain't gonna finish the rest of what Kendrick say. But at the end of the day, bro, can you live with that? You'll never buy a house. You'll be in rent control for the rest of your life.
Only taking 10 to 14 days to sell. After 2 weekends, they have an open house, an offer day. Those ones are probably going for a little bit over the list price because they did get a lot of activity. They did price it correctly, and they're getting a lot of people in the door, and they're getting multiple offers.
So they do auctions. Everything is so. If they're auctioning what you buy, I'm pretty sure they're auctioning what you rent also, or even putting it in a position where you just can't walk in and just rent it. Crazy. Okay, let's circle this. I'm gonna continue rolling. It's I'm about an hour and 12 minutes into this. I'm gonna continue rolling. So check it out. Man, drop, like, subscribe, follow, man. Thank you. I appreciate everybody jumping on here. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate you guys over at Facebook. Thank you for supporting the channel. This is just what I do. Let's go.
Month, Atlanta ranked as the second most expensive city in the U.S. to rent. You don't want to hear it, neither do I. That's according to a new report from the online rental platform Zumper. Now, the median price of one-bedroom units in our city is $1,630. That's a lot higher than the
median rent $1,630 in Atlanta, Georgia, $1,277. Okay, second most expensive city to rent in the U.S. Check the link in the description. I've got a moving to Atlanta relocation guide. It is a free guide, doesn't cost you anything. In that guide, I outline the state, the counties, how much the median rental price is, the best counties to buy in when you talk about not just home appreciation, but cost to purchase. Okay, these are important things. You can get some of it from chat. It may tell you the wrong stuff or may give you spit it out, but I give it to you in detail and from a 20 years vet perspective. So it's free. That's my gift to you, because what they're talking about, $1,600 for median rent, I am 100% sure you're talking about anywhere between a 1-bedroom to possibly a 2, okay? And you're not talking about the best places too. You're talking about you might have to step over some type of bum in poor displaced person in your stairway. But at the end of the day, some people you gotta afford. That's what you can afford. That's what you can afford. But you don't always have to live in the city. There's great places outside of the city you can live, rent.
average for Georgia, which is around $1,300. For the metro area, Alpharetta is ranked as the most expensive city with 1-bedrooms coming in at $1,650. The city of Atlanta placed second, and then Lawrenceville came in third. Rome was listed as the most affordable place to live with 1-bedrooms priced under $900 for rent. LaGrange ranked as the second least expensive, and then Forest Park came in third.
Yo, I used to have a different love-hate relationship with Forest Park because it was bordering at Clayton County, Fulton County. That's one of the only cities that's split between Clayton and Fulton. Jonesboro is like that in some ways too, but it's the only one. And I was like, stay away from Forest Park. Honestly, Forest Park is so close to the city of Atlanta. I'm wondering why a lot of people don't live there anymore. The municipality is great, or don't live there in as much. But I do understand it's low cost living, so you kind of scratch your head. Do you want to be around people who are paying less for rent? But if you got to get started, I started in Riverdale when I first moved to Atlanta. I started living there because the cost of living on that side is way less expensive, you know?
I saw the craziest post on Threads this morning, and let me just say, landlords, Atlanta landlords especially, are evil. This is an apartment that I toured in Buckhead, so I can personally say I know for a fact that they are not worth this. It's a high-rise apartment in Buckhead, and basically this guy that lives there posted on Threads that he currently pays around $2,000. Based on my tour and based on the units that I looked at, he probably rents out a 2-bed, 2-bath in a high-rise unit, and it's right in the Lenox area of Buckhead, so not like a crazy good location unless you work in that area. But essentially, he pays $2,000 now, and he screenshotted the email, like the renewal email, with the renewal options, basically, and the cheapest to re-sign the lease was a 6-month lease with rent of over $2,700. Mind you, the other lease lengths literally went to almost $4,000.
Can somebody tell me if I'm tripping? Like, $2,500 for a 1-bedroom, 730 square feet. $3,190. So $3,190 for 830 square feet. And then you keep scrolling. Hold on. Where's another one? Down here, $5,000 for 950 square feet. Now, 950 square feet, that's a lot. But $5,000 in Atlanta, like 4 bands? Am I tripping? Like, is this not insane?
Renters are conning their way.
4 bands. Oh, no.
Into luxury apartments using fake financial documents, and it's becoming increasingly common throughout the US. The housing market is unbalanced in some cities. They have too many luxury apartments and not enough affordable units. In Atlanta, for example, renting a 2-bedroom costs nearly $2,000 a month on average. That's far more than what the city's typical renter can afford. On TikTok, users say renters can improve their chances of landing a fancy apartment by faking financial information on their applications. Some promoters charge hundreds of dollars for fraudulent rental application packages, which they say include fake financial documents, social security numbers, and employment.
Y'all still using the CPNs? Are y'all still using CPNs to do the dirty work? 4 pay stubs, 1 bank account, bank statement, a rental and employment verification, completed application of your choice done by me. Need to move, but can't get approved. Purchase my apartment package. Man, y'all are so. Oh no. How the heck y'all doing this, man? Dude, this is on TikTok. So this is what the Wall Street Journal says they're seeing in Atlanta. And it's not just Atlanta, but it's other cities and municipalities. So you guys are buying fake applications for apartments? Like a fake way. What happens when they give you, you are welcome to comment on this and remain anonymous. I mean, do they give you guys, like if they got a call and they needed to call to verify rental, which is normal, or employment, which is normal, do they turn around and like pick up the phone for you guys? And how much are they charging? Leave a link, leave a comment. I'm hecka curious. Listen, I ain't snitching. I don't know nothing about nothing. I ain't saying nothing about nothing. I'm just here to tell you exactly what's going on. If you want to go on TikTok and find the person with this post, you go and you find it. And I would actually search for need to move but can't get approved. That's it. I didn't even know this was going on to me. The CPNs, if you don't know what CPNs were, this was the way that people used to use back in the day, and they still use it, I guess, now. I didn't think it was still big, for your Social Security. So you got your EIN number for your business, you got your Social Security. They were using CPNs as like mass Social Security numbers. So you get like, I call it a fake social because it's not really tied to, it's just like a social. It's just tied to to a non-existent person. You end up tying it to yourself. You buy it and it becomes your extension of social. But that's weird, bro. That's if you got to do all of that, you got to rethink your life decisions and your choices. I'm just saying.
One big national landlord says that up to half the rental applications are fraudulent in some buildings. Now, this kind of fraud can result in criminal or civil penalties, but landlords rarely take legal action because it's difficult to collect any damages from someone who's not able to pay their rent in the first place.
Like, for real, man, be honest with me, man. Like, what are y'all paying for rent? Because I just seen a penthouse. It was like a 1-bedroom, like $3,200. And I'm just trying to figure out if I'm broke or y'all rich, because that was 1 bedroom for $3,200. Like, what are y'all doing? Because I really need to know. Nah, seriously. So I really want y'all to drop y'all rent prices in the comments, because this don't make no sense, man.
How are y'all paying?
Yeah, drop your rent prices in the comments. Drop how much you pay on rent. If you want to do it incognito, you can. I don't care, anonymous. I'm mad curious. 3,200, 3,000, anything north of 3,000 to me too is crazy for a 1-bedroom. I don't care where you at.
$2,000 for an apartment. Not even how. Why? So I'm gonna do some back in the day type shit and show y'all the apartment that I had, I think in 2012, and how much I paid for my luxury apartment. So in 2012, my apartment was $850 a month. It is now $1,900. That's on the low end. It's going up to between $1,900 and $3,100. I paid $850 in 2011. 2011, 2012, yeah.
People are charging $1,000 a month to rent rooms in their home. $1,000 a month to rent a room. Bro, what the fuck we gonna do? The cost of living has gotten out of hand.
Okay.
So as of this morning,
listen, if you're somebody that's struggling, you're trying to figure out how do you spend $1,000 a month? How do you give somebody or charge somebody $1,000 a month to rent in your spot? It's called pad split. Okay. Pad split will allow you to rent out a house and rent out the rooms in a house through their system. Think of like Airbnb. And I wish I keep talking about pad split because I wish I knew pad split when I was pushing my Airbnb. Honestly, I wouldn't even did my Airbnb. I just would have did a pad split. No ego at all, you know, because these guys are making that $1,000, $600, $800, $900 a month, renting these rooms out to people who and you're getting a room, but you're also getting you're getting a kitchen, you got the bathroom. The great ones have bathrooms in the room, so you don't have to leave the room to go to use the bathroom. But it's like a house that you're sharing with other people, okay? And I went to a buddy of mine's project. He took a 2-bedroom, he made it into a 5-bedroom. He's building efficiency on the back end. I got the video for it. I've been debating whether I should do these videos on this channel. I'm probably going to do a completely different channel because we walked through this and I'm pointing out to him and he's showing me like the rearranged spot. He's like, Lee, at the end of this thing, I'm going to be able to do $900 to about $1,000 per room. So you took a 2-bedroom, you made it 5, you got 3 bathrooms. That's 5 stacks off the top. The house would normally rent for probably 24, probably 2,000 in that area. A lot more now. Pad split, that's how you kill it. That's my tip for the day. If you got a spot to sit down there and you're trying to make some extra money, because I'm all about making extra money on real estate in this market.
A real estate agent and a mortgage loan officer. Why? Why, you ask? Because you cannot live in the state of Georgia in a studio apartment for under about $1,600 a month. Don't get me started on 1-bedroom. Don't get me started, okay? And I've been looking for months. Okay, here we go. So even on the cheap end, the cheap places, $1,250 to $1,350 for a studio, and you know, in like farther out areas, these are decently sized, like 750 square feet. In the city, like between 400 and 550 square feet. So you don't even have room for a desk.
I often think about the living expenses I pay. I live in Atlanta. I have a studio apartment, all to myself in the city. A little expensive. The alternative for me, I almost moved into a pad split or rented a house with this lady who it was a creepy house, but it was weird. I didn't like it, but it would have been super cheap. That was the alternative to spending like double and moving in here.
I hate that. The alternatives are you only get this or you get that. There's no in between, right? No in between alternatives. Okay. Shoot. Where am I at right now? Boom. I'm at an hour and 30, almost an hour and 30 minutes. And you know what I want to do? I want to cover this story, man. There's a story out of Philly. And the reason I got to do this story is, bro, I grew up in Philly. So I never was in Philly doing real estate. When I left Philly, I was not even in the space, not even an entrepreneur, still in college. But at the end of the day, this report reminds me of everything Philadelphia is when I grew up. The fraud tells me, and the experiences that I've had tells me how much these people come down to Atlanta and they do the same thing. But we were doing this, and I say we. I'm not going to say we because it wasn't me. When I say we, I'm meaning as a culture in real estate. Prior to probably 2000, before the Great Recession, they were doing this. It seems somehow they found a way to kind of redo this and do it in a different way. And I'm going to break it down as she goes through this story. But this is the craziest level of fraud that I've ever seen.
Remember when we told you about dozens of suspicious real estate deals around Temple University back in February? Well, 4 of those properties connected to the potentially fraudulent deals are now in foreclosure after the buyers stopped making mortgage payments. If you're new to this story, let me catch you up.
So this to give you an idea, Temple University, downtown Philadelphia.
Past 2 years, dozens of North Philly properties have been purchased at inflated prices by a small group of people. It adds up to $45 million in questionable deals, all connected to one real estate agent, Patrick Fay. These 4 buildings now in foreclosure could be a sign of more to come, because at this point, experts say evidence of a possible mortgage fraud scheme is piling up, and students and other renters may be caught in the fallout.
We didn't have any idea of the possibility that this unit would be going under foreclosure.
We received hundreds of comments and questions from people asking how this scheme could be so lucrative for the people involved. So we reached out to a local attorney who handles fraud cases to help us make it make sense.
Mortgage fraud is just like any other fraud. Somebody comes up with a plan to take money that's not theirs. So we don't know exactly in this situation what happened, but what's been reported is that a property sits on the market for a certain amount of money and doesn't move. All of a sudden, that same property is increased in value.
In the deals brokered by Fay, the properties were purchased for up to double the original listing price. But some of the sellers and agents told the Inquirer that they entered into those deals with an understanding that the sum that they would actually receive was closer to the original price. Spicer said whoever took out the mortgage could potentially pocket the difference between that original price and the amount of the loan.
And then what it appears is that they then also did not pay back the mortgages, meaning they went into default and foreclosure.
So just to give you a concept, they were doing this before the Great Recession reset. They were basically taking homes, and it looks like this thing came back, and it's back, right? It's in Philly. They would take a property, sell it. You pay it at a price, let's say $300,000. You pay $300,000. They say, I'm going to give you back. The seller says, I'm going to give you back $25,000, okay, for buying it. The house is valued at, let's say, $250,000. I'm going to keep $25,000, and I sold you the house, so now I'm getting the house. Now I'm getting $75,000, probably $25,000 over, or there's no $25,000 over. You're just getting the $50,000. But either way, I'm incentivizing you to buy it, take it off of my books. Now, think about it. I look at it like this. Anybody buying a house like that, you're stupid. Okay, let me tell you why you're stupid. And if anybody ever walks up to you and gives you this type of deal, which I know a client, they did back like in 2008, 6, around that time. He didn't walk. I wasn't on the deal. I really didn't care, but I heard about it, okay? And I knew the details. At the end of the day, you have to consider this. You're buying an upside down house. Why the hell would you take that amount of money and buy it? So I can see why it would go into foreclosure, because the people only wanted the bread. The seller wanted the bread. The buyer wanted the bread. They really didn't want the house. The way you stay away from shit like this is anybody comes to you and tell you you're going to get money at closing back, you look at them and you laugh and know that it's a scheme and or it's a con or it's a level of fraud. In this case, it's mortgage fraud, because you're lying to the lender about the cost, about who's getting the money back. You're not telling the lender that the buyer who's buying it from you, or the buyer's not telling the lender that they're getting money back from the seller. They're just turning around and buying the house from the seller, paying the seller the $300,000. The seller's turning around and giving the buyer $50,000, and that's all fraud. It's all fraud. It's all. Because that's not the way it works. You have to disclose this. There are other ways to do deals that you don't have to get in a fraudulent place, but they don't tell people that. And if anybody comes up to you again and tells you, hey, this is a great way to do a deal, look at them, laugh, and run.
These 4 properties went into foreclosure quickly. The lenders say that the buyers defaulted on their mortgages within months of the purchase. In just those buildings, there are at least 11 apartments and 33 bedrooms. Tori Camacho lives in one of them.
We really love this place. It's super affordable. It fits us perfectly. It's so close to campus.
Camacho's building was sold last April for $905,000 in a deal Faye brokered. In an interview before the foreclosures began, Faye said he did nothing wrong and insisted that he had an unblemished record for over 20 years in real estate. And when we asked him for comment on this story, he didn't respond.
The water.
Camacho and her roommates were already dealing with maintenance issues.
Gigantic, hole that just fell.
When they found out from an Inquirer reporter that a bank had filed to foreclose on the property back in February. Now they're planning to move.
We're just students trying to get our education and have a safe space to live.
A Temple representative told the Inquirer that students who are concerned about their living arrangements have reached out to the university, and that staff have offered on-campus housing for students who are interested.
Hey, yeah. Hey, that's it for me today. Like, subscribe, follow for more content. I gave you the goods. I showed you exactly what to do. But this is what we do. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. And remember, man, you're loved just the way that you are. Forget about what these losers got to say. And real talk, they kind of lying to y'all. God loves you just like that. Peace.